Hi, I'm Ellis George, play Courtney Woods, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents and squeak continue all the way to episode 111 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. The doctor cannot always be here. Thank goodness he's got a few friends that are willing to step in. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going on the virtual table and see who's joined us.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We're all back.
Hi.
Chrissy's feeling better. Yay.
Yes, the dreaded cold hasn't gone, but it's a lot smaller.
It's livable.
Now.
It's tolerable.
Yes. I don't feel like my head is going to implode.
Yeah. We're not going to recreate that scene from Scanners.
Not feeling like that.
Yeah.
So, something out of
Anyway.
sci-fi flick.
It's been a busy week, hasn't it, ladies?
Just a little bit. There's some exciting stuff to talk about. So we're just going to jump straight into news with some news from the Star Wars universe. That young Han Solo origin movie, whatever I want to call it, yet untitled Han Solo film, now has its young Lando in the form of Donald Glover, who I don't really know him, and I won't know him until Spider-Man Homecoming comes out next year, probably. So.
Did you watch Community, Mitch?
I watched Community.
Okay, so
He was one of the main, starting characters, but he left in the, I forget which season. But, he left to take a yacht trip around the world or something.
okay. Yeah, the only thing I've seen him in is
the character left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah. But yeah, he was one of the, he played this character, Troy Barnes. So.
He's the one you see in all the GIFs.
Yeah, he's the one, I don't know what is happening, my whole brain is crying.
Oh, yeah, yep. Or he's the one where he walks in with pizzas and the room's on fire.
That's from Remedial Chaos Theory in Season 3. It's
okay.
One of my favorite episodes, because it's, shows all these possibilities depending on, one character rolls a die, and it's all the possibilities, and they have to go, one person has to go down for pizza, and depending on what number comes up on the die, that's who goes down for pizza, and so it shows all the possibilities.
Okay.
And the one with him coming in with the pizza and there's the fire everywhere and everything's crazy, that's the one where he went down, and that's considered the darkest timeline.
Pizza and fire.
Yep. And I did see him in The Martian, and I mean, that whole movie's great.
Yep.
And he was one of my favorite characters in that, because he's making all the pop culture references, and
Yes.
and his plan in the movie is the one that ultimately gets the main character home, and now I can't remember his name because I haven't watched it in forever or read the book, but Mark, it's not. Yeah, it's Matt Damon's character. I can't remember. The guy's first name is Mark Watney. That's it.
There you
It
go.
just started with a W. I was getting there. Anyway, but yes, Donald Glover. So,
I love the quote from StarWars.com from the Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who are going to be directing. They said, we're so lucky to have an artist as talented as Donald to join us. These are big shoes to fill and an even bigger cape, and this one fits him perfectly, which will save us money on alterations. Also, we'd like to publicly apologize to Donald for ruining Comic-Con for him forever.
He's always going to be young Lando, which is just fine. Yeah, I honestly, well, okay. I hadn't forgotten they were doing a standalone Han Solo movie. It just wasn't on at the forefront of my mind when I saw the news on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they're doing that. Oh, they cast it. Oh, okay."
Oh, and I didn't even know if we were going to bring Lando in.
Yeah. And then I think Rachel, you and I posted it on our Facebook page
within like seconds of each other, I think.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, right, there's two of them."
Yeah, that's okay.
We'll let it sit. It's because we're so excited.
Yes. And I think that just shows how much we're on Facebook, too.
Yep.
We both see the news and we're like, gotta share it!
Yep. Well, I'm on it for work, so when I see things, I just go, boom.
Yeah.
It's because I see everything.
Yeah.
I see it all. Something like that. Anyway, moving on. We have Harry Potter news, and this is kind of cool. There are going to be more movies after Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. More movies set in the Wizarding World. And J.K. Rowling tweeted this out, that there would be 5 more movies. She's going to be a producer, probably. It's not specific.
I heard that at least one of them is going to include a young Dumbledore and his relationship with Grindelwald.
Okay. Ooh, that would be a good topic to tackle. I mean, she's got so much material here. You might as well. I mean, and she is doing stuff with it, obviously. With movies and The Cursed Child, which I still haven't finished reading. Sorry.
It's okay. I haven't started
I
it.
read it and then I loaned it to my sister.
Well, I think I more or less know what happens because I haven't been too stringent about spoilers in this one. But
you know, generally.
I know generally. Kind of, but yeah. But so let's see. So I guess there are reports of a Fantastic Beasts sequel that's supposed to be coming out, or tentatively scheduled, I suppose we should say, for November 2018. So Fantastic Beasts. So far, what I've seen of it looks amazing, or shall we say fantastic. I will see myself out.
Try the veal.
Yes, try the veal.
Make sure it's your Raiders.
It looks great. So I have no qualms about there being a sequel, and like I don't know, Eddie Redmayne, just every time I see him for working, doing Fantastic Beasts promotion or in trailers or whatever and stuff, I'm just like, you look like you're having such a fun time. I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, I would think that would be the case, because it's like, it's a Harry Potter universe.
Yes. Well, because I read it, I saw a video interview with him earlier. I can't remember how long ago it was, but he was talking about how he had wanted to play one of the Weasleys because he has red hair and he missed out on that. So this is like his big Harry Potter opportunity because he really wanted to do that and he didn't get the chance. So he's like, this is great for me.
I want to be in Harry Potter. And I don't even have an English accent. I want to be in Harry Potter.
So anyway, so yay, more Harry Potter gloriousness, Wizarding World.
I'd ask Chauncey, I said, do you want to go see Fantastic Beasts with me? Because I know Harry Potter's not really your thing. He's like, yeah, I want to go see it. I'm like, okay, cool. I haven't bought tickets yet for, anything, so. But he wants to go, so it'd be interesting to get his take on it. Because he's not as entrenched in Harry Potter. He didn't cry when walking into the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Florida like I did.
Well, it just looks like a fun movie and a fun fantasy period piece even. So it's like, yeah. And there's so much backstory that she's put up on Pottermore, and every time there's something new on Pottermore, it's like the whole internet stops and like, okay, I gotta go read what's the new thing that she's got up about, magic in North America and that kind of thing. So it's just, I'm just glad she's having fun with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because we'll certainly take it.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Next up, a couple of Marvel characters. 2 separate entities. Still from the Marvel comics. They're Marvel properties, yes.
It's
Marvel
like how
properties.
Andre, Black Nerd Comedy, put it. He's like, it's like your parents are divorced, and who do you when you get Christmas presents. So who's got the nicest Christmas presents?
Exactly.
And it's like, and he's just like, they both want to impress you, but in the end, you get cool Christmas presents, so it's all good.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna go with the more adult of the two first. So we got our first look at Logan, which is going to be Hugh Jackman's last go round playing Wolverine, which he's been very open. This is not a surprise that this is going to be his last time playing Wolverine. They're definitely going. They're diving into the comics in a harsh way, and Chauncey actually hadn't realized that the trailer dropped. There's actually two trailers, because there's a Green Band trailer, which is technically suitable for all audiences, but viewer discretion, because it is kind of violent. And then there's a Red Band trailer, which is not for all audiences, and but
although
yeah,
I will say, because my brother-in-law showed the trailer to to his parents today at dinner, and he didn't, and it looked the same. He didn't realize it was the Red Band trailer, because it looked the same, except there's one
scene.
Bit.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one scene in the Red Band trailer that's not in the Green Band, and that's when Wolverine puts his claws up through the guy's head, and they're like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize that." He was like, "I didn't realize that was that trailer."
Yeah,
but it was okay.
But based on the trailer, because we've talked the X-Men universe and all that in the past, and Chauncey sent in his feedback and about how he doesn't care for Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine. Just based on the trailer, he's very excited about it. He's like, this is the Wolverine I've been wanting for years. The old man, gritty, down on his luck, doesn't give a flying flip about nothing, just battle worn, can't give a crap about anything Wolverine. So he's excited. So it gets the Chauncey seal of approval.
And I mean, again, the music selection. I don't know why I've cued into so many to the music choices on these trailers so well. Maybe it's because everybody wants to play Johnny Cash, but they have Johnny Cash here, and it's heard, and it works so well.
Yeah.
I'm like, even if the movie is terrible, the trailer just looks so good.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not saying the movie's going to be terrible. I'm just saying even if.
Well, I think that particular branch of Marvel properties figured out a thing or two after Deadpool about marketing.
Yeah.
So
they're like, oh, we finally got something right. Let's try let's try some of these things we did.
Yeah.
See how that works out.
It's like okay. Cause and effect. Oh, this works? Okay, well then let's apply this to this other thing. And by golly, it works.
Now, if they could,
quite nicely.
Yes. And, I mean, as much as I've enjoyed Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I would like them to do other X-Men, focus on some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of hoping that with Hugh Jackman retiring, as it were, I hope they get some ideas for other movies for other X-Men and not try to do the whole kitchen sink thing. Like, Apocalypse was good. I enjoyed it. But I'm just like, look at all these characters you could do so many different things with.
Yeah.
Gambit is getting a movie, right?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
He is.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And I may be in the minority, but I love Kitty Pryde, and I would love to see her get something more than what she's gotten so far.
I guess where they go from here will depend on how exactly this fits into the continuity. Because Andre was like, well, it's like there's old Logan, there's old Professor X. Like, where does this fit in the this timeline of everything?
Yeah,
so,
it's like, how does this work? I don't know.
Yeah.
from what I can see, they tried to get Apocalypse to match up with the beginning of the X-Men trilogy from back in the early 2000s, and it's not a perfect fit.
No, it's...
Because there are things that you can't, like, why certain characters don't remember certain things, that sort of...
It'll make your head hurt.
They get a "you tried" sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a "you tried" sticker for trying to match them up, but it no.
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone that's, you know, smarter and better versed in the comics and all that can plot out the timeline better.
Yeah.
Than we can. So it kind of makes your head hurt when you think about it. So.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, I guess, when it comes out. It comes out in March. So.
So, yep.
Yeah.
And the other Marvel, this one's actually Marvel Cinematic Universe trailer, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And again, I was not expecting to see this one for a while, and holy crap! Baby Groot with a leather jacket!
I know. Following after Rocket.
I know! I'm just like, Groot got his own little jacket, and he's so cute! I'm like, is Vin Diesel still gonna voice him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's still Vin Diesel, so yeah.
I am anxiously awaiting the Funko of Groot in the leather jacket.
I know, I need one.
So, like, when the trailer dropped, one of my bosses, who, like, they get some geek culture stuff, but not everything. But one of them, she was like, I posted on my Facebook page, and she commented, "I was just coming to post this on your wall, but you got it here. Isn't Groot so?" Like, you know, she was geeking out about it with me. I'm like, and I was like, "Here, I think you need this," and I posted a link to the Funko Baby Groot, and she's like, "Oh, I need that." I have done my good deed.
Yeah.
I have informed.
The sad thing is like James Gunn, he dropped the poster first. He's like, I'm just gonna leave this here. He's like, you know, crap's been going on, people are depressed. Here's a nice little carrot to brighten your day. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I didn't even notice little Groot standing on the ground, peeking around the leg at the bottom until somebody pointed it out. And then the trailer dropped, and I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like Blue Sweet, you know, look on a feeling, you know, it's like,
and it's like, because that was the song they used in the first movie's first trailer, and that's what everybody got going. Like, I think honestly, it's the music that got everybody interested in seeing the movie in the first place. So it's like, hey, let's do that again, and it's just like,
well, and they don't, you know, they've already got the rights to the song, so they don't have to pay. You know, the rights again for something else. So.
It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, but I didn't catch little baby Groot on Rocket's shoulder at the end of the trailer either. It's like he's like, where's Waldo? It's like, where's Groot? Because he's so tiny, unlike before, where, you know, he was the size of a tree.
Well, you know, he's voiced by Vin Diesel, so.
Yeah.
But now we've got Baby Groot, which we love.
I know.
Of course, we love Big Groot too, but Baby Groot, how can you go wrong?
Yeah. But, I mean, not just Baby Groot too. I mean, the whole trailer, it just, you know, like the whole bit between Peter Quill and Drax, where he's like, you need a woman as pathetic as you.
And he's like, I don't want to hug. So Drax is understanding sarcasm or metaphorical language now, so it's like
he's learning. His language, his grammar and language is expanding,
and that is wonderful.
Yeah,
and it looks like Nebula is back. I couldn't tell if she was with the good guys or the bad guys, but
we'll find out.
We'll find out. And Yondu is working with the team, so
we're
expanding the base.
Expanding.
So.
It looks good. It looks good. I'm excited. So.
We will all be in line to see.
Oh yes, absolutely. So thank you, James Gunn. That was a nice little present.
Yes, that definitely
that we desperately needed.
Definitely brighten the world.
Yep.
So.
And then if you want to post a track listing,
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll all go
so we
to
can start
iTunes.
grooving early.
Yeah. We'll head over to iTunes and make up an official playlist until you can sell us the actual one.
Yeah. Like, just let me get on YouTube. I'll make a... I have Awesome Mix Volume 1 on my phone. It's like the only like full album I have on my phone. Everything else is just like random single songs.
Yeah.
But Awesome Mix Volume 1, the entire album. Because it's just so good.
Indeed.
Gotta have it. Ugh. Anyway. Yay!
Yay,
Happy
trailers.
stuff.
I like
Yeah, usually with trailers, like, hey, there's a trailer, but then, like, you know, like, Marvel drops a trailer, and we're like, yay!
And here's all our favorite bits, and it was only a minute and a half, if that, but we still loved it.
Baby Groot in a jacket!
Come on, Funko, get on that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Baby Groot in a little potted plant.
I do,
thing.
too.
We have that one, but, like,
He sits on my shelf
needs
at work.
his jacket.
Yeah.
Or the Funko duo with Rocket and then Groot peeking out behind him. That would even be cute too.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah. Sold.
Take my money here.
Yep, Funko, you can have that one. Just run with it. Just make sure we get notified first.
Yes, that's all we want. We don't want the royalties or anything. Just tell us when it's coming, and
Yep.
We'll
want first
buy it.
shot at it.
Yep,
Exactly.
we'll be there. Anyway.
Yes. Anyway, that's it for news. Chrissy's got.
Yes, I went to Anime Banzai yesterday. It's a 3-day anime convention that happens here in Utah. It's been going on for several years. I hadn't heard of it until a few years ago. But it's a lot smaller than Comic-Con. It's at a smaller convention center up about a half hour north of Salt Lake City. And I'd never been before. Jared had been a couple times, and we had talked about it over the summer, like, hey, we should go to Anime Banzai, because they had helped. Because a little background, Jared was on the committee this year for ToshoCon with the library. The library does a little teen... sorry, still getting over my cold a little bit, but he'd been on the committee for the library's teen anime convention, and they'd helped, some of the people from Anime Banzai had helped there, and so he'd wanted to go again and just see, and then I'd never been, so he's like, oh, we need to go. So we could only go the Saturday, which was yesterday, which was fine because of work and things, and you know, we both had a really great time. We kind of kept it low-key. You know, we didn't have any plans to cosplay or anything, and we didn't even pre-buy tickets. We bought tickets at the door, which were probably a little pricier than if we'd bought them in advance. So, again, buy your tickets early if you can for any kind of convention. First thing we did was we went to the vendors hall, because it was like, well, okay, that's... You know, I mean, we'd passed some panel rooms on the way, and they each had the schedule posted outside. I mean, this convention, like I said, it's been around for several years, even before Salt Lake Comic-Con. So they're pretty well established, and they know how to do things, and they have their rules aren't too much different than Salt Lake Comic-Con, but they are posted around a lot more, which I wasn't surprised by it. It was just sort of something I had never thought about too much, like especially rules about standing in line. And I didn't see a lot of staff like standing there enforcing the line rules, but it kind of seemed like the attendees were the ones doing that. So that was kind of different. To the vendors hall, and when we got there, we had someone actually scan our badges. Well, they didn't scan them, but they held up a light to make sure that they were legit. And I'm like, well, that's different. Because in my mind, I'm comparing it to I've been to Salt Lake Comic-Con, and I went to Gallifrey 1 a few years ago. So that's what I'm comparing it to. So this may be, standard operating procedure in some other places, and I just don't know. But yeah, so he checks it. And then like the vendors hall, you actually kind of, like, you don't have to keep moving, but I didn't see, like, feels like there was an order to the things you had to see, because it was set up in a circle in this room. So like you got in, through one side of the door, and the other side was for exiting, which, controlling traffic a little bit, that works. So we just kind of checked out all the vendors' tables and bought some cool stuff. I got a little keychain of from Sailor Moon Ami Mizuno, who's Sailor Mercury. But I have a little keychain figure of Sailor Mercury, so I have one of her as in her civilian clothes as a schoolgirl. She's really cute. She's holding up a little book and reading it and has a pair of glasses on. So she's my favorite. So I got that. I also got another Funko Pop of Sailor Venus because I don't have her or Mars. Well, now I just am missing Sailor Mars. We got some Pokemon plushies, and my favorite thing I got wasn't even anime related. It's a long sleeve T-shirt, kind of that baseball style that you see like with the colored sleeves, and the rest is white. And on the front it says, "Well, that just wouldn't be cricket." And on the back it has, in like sports font, I'll have to put a picture of this, Davison 05. So they had several of the Doctor T-shirts, one of these booths, and I was like, that is so cool. And they had a bunch of buttons. They had one for each of the doctors, where I got one that says 5 is my doctor, has a picture of the celery, and then I got a button that says permission to squee, and it has the hands waving. And I'm like, I think I need this one, thank you. And then Jared got a leather belt pouch for his pirate costume, which looks really cool. So we're excited about that. Oh, and he got a T-shirt because he loves penguins. And you've ever seen that picture of the penguin, of the scientist in Antarctica, and the penguin comes up and it's captioned, "I would like to science, please."
Yes.
He got a T-shirt with a penguin in a lab coat with kind of an atom looking thing, and it says, "I would like to science, please."
Nice.
It was, because I was getting a lot of stuff, and I'm like, come on, there's got to be something here you want. And he's like, oh, I want the penguin thing. He loves penguins. So cool. So
I want that.
And a Pokemon plushie Ralts, because he likes Curlia. Ralts is the first evolution of that set, and he has a Gardevoir already. So we're still looking for a Curlia plushie. So if anyone knows where to find Curlia as plushie, we have not been able to find it, like even online anywhere, which is really annoying. But we're looking for that. So if anyone has any clue where you could find one, send it our way. And then they had Artist Alley in another room down the way a bit. So we just went in there to kind of see what they had. And I did get, I like to just kind of go, because I will probably buy all the art if I am not careful.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to haste myself. And there's Jared is terrible. He's an enabler. He's like, do you want that? And I'm like, I just bought all this other stuff. You should get that. I just bought all this. But then I saw... But then there was these ones we got. I got a Sailor Mercury print, and it actually looks pretty cool. It's sort of Art Nouveau a little bit. I guess that's what the style is, but it just looked cool.
Art Nouveau style of characters in Art Nouveau style is so amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if that's exactly what this is, but it kind of reminds me of that. So that's why I'm calling it that. And then they were selling.
I know the style you're talking about, and those are really cool.
Yeah. And then I got 3 bookmarks. There was one I wanted. It was a bookmark of the Pokemon Ampharos. There's Mareep, Fluffy, and Ampharos as Chibis, and it says Fluffy, and I'm like, oh, that's so dang cute. Then we got one of the Chibis of Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. And then I got one of that they kind of cuted up. They made them look cute. It was Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, which you don't see them in merchandise very much because they're the ghost types, and they're kind of, I don't know. You just don't see them very often, but they were selling these drawings of them of bookmarks. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're pink and purple, and I'm like, need these for Halloween. So I got those. There were just so many different, the artists there, and I think they're all local, as far as I know. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be some that weren't or were from out of state, but man, there were just so many talented people, and I'm like, I want to buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can't because I am I brought a certain number of cash or a certain amount of cash, and I'm like, I'm not spending over this.
Mm-hmm.
But and the cosplay, I mean, anime fans. Okay, if you've seen any amount of anime, you know that the characters can look as simple as a Japanese high school student in their uniform, all the way to people with crazy color hair that goes everywhere, and wings that fly out for miles, and and so I'm like, so the people who cosplay as anime characters, I'm just like, dude, like my head goes off to you guys because you are so committed and you know what you're doing, and you're very focused on detail, and it's just so amazing what people do. Now, I haven't been into anime for a fair number of years, only up until recently, so there's a lot of popular characters that I'm just like, I don't know what you are.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. And, sorry. Still getting over this cough, but I mean there were a few that I recognized. Like there was some gaming ones and some from games that I think I'm like, okay, I think I know what that is, but I'm really not sure. But there was one, I took a few pictures. There was a lady who was dressed. She made a dress out of a Fallout blue jumpsuit from Vault 111 from Fallout 4. But so the dress was kind of a 50s style, and she had her hair in a little, I don't know what they're called, kind of like a fishnet sort of thing. She looked like a 50s housewife, but her dress was a Vault suit. And it was really neat. And I just like, can I take a
picture of her? That was neat.
Yeah, I was like, and I'm always kind of, I love costumes, and I know a lot of cosplayers like don't have a problem if you come up and ask them for a picture, but I am so shy about asking people for pictures.
No, I know, same.
Yeah, and but it was funny because we were walking through, just one of the hallways, and it was kind of a more open area, and Jared had on his T-shirt that was he got at Comic-Con that was Armstrong's Gym with Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist, and he's got it's supposed to look like Gold's Gym, and he's it's a silhouette of him, and he's got his big mustache, and he's flexing and sparkling, and he has the slogan, "We'll change your body and make it sparkle." It's a Full Metal Alchemist thing, and we were walking through together, and some girl just comes up to him and is like, "I love your shirt. Can I give you a hug?" And he was like, "Sure." And so I'm like, I wasn't weirded. I wasn't bothered by it. I didn't have a problem with it. I was just sort of amused that he's walking there with someone who is his wife. I mean, the lady that came up to him, didn't know us. And she could have thought, wife, girlfriend, whatever. And I'm just like, okay. It's like, I don't have a problem with this, but that was funny. Yeah. But yeah, people at Anime Banzai were really friendly. They're really fun. Even when we were getting in line for a panel and we got in the wrong line, people were still kind of, oh, it's okay, sort of a thing. So it was, they were just like, telling us where to go. And we did check out one of the anime viewing rooms. We saw a couple episodes of a show called A Certain Magical Index. We saw episodes 2 and 3. So that, and it's kind of interesting because when I did ToshoCon for the library, I was like, viewing rooms, you come all the way to this convention just to watch something you could stay at home and watch. Mm-hmm. But at the same time,
it's not about watching it, it's about watching it with other fans.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. This was before I knew about that. And people you want to check out something.
I've watched episodes of Doctor Who at Galley.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I did that at the first PopCon. Who North America had a viewing room where they were just showing Doctor Who, and I'm like, yes, please. It's also a good place to go and be away from the crowds.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what we did, because by then we're like, okay, our feet are starting to hurt. Let's sit down and let's check. But then we were like, okay, going down, because they had all the viewing rooms in one hallway. And so we were actually like stopping, like, hey, what are these guys showing? Because we wanted to see something that was like actually decent. But yeah, so like that was like, that was my attitude going back. The first time I'd ever heard of a viewing room at a convention, I was sort of baffling to me. But now I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw that and we're like, hey, I think we need to look this up and watch it like when we get home or something, because there's some really good stuff. And then we only got into one panel because we weren't there. We were there long enough, but didn't we only had time for one panel, and it was what's new in anime. And the hosts of it, and I put a link to their website, is the Anime Happy Hour podcast. They hosted this panel, and they just had a list of anime that is brand new this year. And there were a few that I got into that, but then the rest, then there were others like, okay, when I get home, I want to see if I can find this. One we actually started watching when we got home. It's called Time Travel Girl. And it's about a girl named Mari who, her dad is a scientist. Her mom she owns a bakery shop. And it's like, she lives with her the show opens with her mom and her sister, and they're eating breakfast, and they're talking about, their dad's been away for so long. The dad, he's up to something with time travel. I'm assuming he invented a time machine, but I'm not sure yet because I haven't got that far in the show. But it's just so adorable, and it's so cute, and Mari is like she understands science, but not as much, or not as well as she probably should, because it shows her failing a science test, and then anyway, in the show she goes back to she accidentally ends up going back to the 1600s to meet William Gilbert, who is the man who discovered how compasses work and why a compass always points north. And so she's discussing like all these sciencey things with him, and he's like really kind to her, and he has met her father. Keep in mind this is 400 some odd years ago, and she's like, oh, we haven't seen him for so long. Do you know where he went? And all these things, and they can understand each other because language apparently works. When you time travel, you can understand whether you're speaking Japanese or English, because she thinks he's speaking fluent Japanese, and he thinks she's speaking fluent English. But so they're sitting there talking. She's still in her modern Japanese schoolgirl uniform, and the maid comes in and is bringing her something to eat, and she's like, the maid is so flushed and embarrassed, and Gilbert says, well, here, I'm gonna show you my lab, and we have to go down the road for it. And the maid is like, is it a good idea for you to take her out wearing that? And her uniform is not like super short by any means, but it's just, you wouldn't wear something
time
that
period.
short in that time period.
Something like that in the 16th.
It's like like Rose and her little denim jumper thing in Doctor Who was a Tooth of Claw.
Times, yeah. So like I said, we've only, and I watched it because Jared had to watch it when we got home. Jared had to watch some movie for his class that he's taking, and it was a really depressing, terrible movie. Well, that's what he said. I haven't watched it. I have no desire to watch it. And I was like, and I could just hear him just kind of going, "Oh, that's so terrible!" Like in the other room, I'm like, "Come out here and watch this with me." So I watched the episode again. So I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna watch this, and that's gonna be our little thing." So that was one show they talked about in the panel. There's a couple others that one I started watching is called Flying Witch, and if you've ever seen Kiki's Delivery Service, it's kind of like that, except she doesn't have a delivery service, but it's just a little cute slice of life sort of show. This girl named Makoto goes. She leaves home to kind of make her way in the world, and she lives with some relatives, and she's a witch, but it's really sweet. She teaches her cousin, or she shows her young cousin like how to fly on a broom, and the harbinger of spring comes, and her little cousin is all freaked out. She's like, no, don't worry, and he leaves her flowers, and it's really cute and just sort of calm, and if you need something not all over the place, and that's a good one to watch. There's one called Relife, and most of these you can get on Crunchyroll or Funimation.com. Relife is one about a 27-year-old working guy who gets a wish to go back and live his life as a 17-year-old. Kind of redo things and stuff. So, and then there were some others like there was some vampire stuff which I really wasn't all that into. But it was just kind of fun to listen to, people who are really into anime just get really excited about all these different things. So I'm kind of getting back into it. So it was a good time. So we had fun just kind of seeing what it was. I think maybe I don't know if next year we'll go the whole time or not, but Anime Banzai, they do a really good job. So I mean, they're very different than Salt Lake Comic Con. Just a different feel. A lot more younger kids, and I don't know if that's just because anime. It's more like older teens and college students. I think maybe they have more time to watch.
Probably
anime. Although there were some parents with young toddlers and things there, but not as many as I saw at Comic-Con. So I think that's kind of that kind of makes a difference too. Plus, it was a smaller venue, so maybe people thought, oh yeah, maybe they just don't do that. But if you're in the area or you want to make the trip out to Anime Banzai, they do it every October. So yeah, and we'll have their website in the show notes, as well as Anime Happy Hour podcast, because they were the ones who did the panel, and I thought it was very well done. And they talked a lot about the different shows, but didn't give away the spoilers or anything. So if I watch any more of the shows that they suggested, I'll mention it somewhere on Facebook or around the podcast or wherever. So anyway, that was my trip to Anime Banzai.
Cool. Very nice, very nice. Alrighty then. Well, we shall move on to this week's main topic. It's actually kind of serendipitous the way that this happened, because we ended the show last week and then we were talking afterwards. Like, I have no idea what we're talking about on the next show, so we were kind of racking our brains, and we've talked about it. Leading up to it, but with the latest Doctor Who spin-off Class premiered over the weekend, but not for those of us in the United States. So we were kind of like, well, Mitch will be able to watch it, but not the rest of us.
We got Dirk Gently, apparently.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've seen on the BBC American Facebook.
But but the guys on Traveling the Vortex are going to be reviewing it on their show this week, so I guess they've found a way to watch it, and Holly was actually able to find a way for us to watch at least the first 2 episodes. Hopefully it'll continue this particular route through the next 6 episodes, so we get all 8 of them. It just so happened that also over the weekend was the 10-year anniversary of the premiere of Torchwood. So between a new Doctor Who spinoff and the anniversary of another Doctor Who spinoff, we figure, hey, this just in, Doctor Who's not on, but let's talk the Doctor Who spinoffs.
That works.
And
for me.
And even some spin-offs that never happened, Mitch, because it just so happened that there was an article that I stumbled across talking about Doctor Who spin-offs that never happened. Like,
There's a lot of...
There was a lot
just
of...
so happens.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was popping up, like, okay, well, I guess we're talking Doctor Who spin-offs this week on the show.
Hey, I'll take it. I will take it.
So, I know Holly has got to watch the first 2 episodes of Class. I watched both episodes last night. I know Brittany was watching it, but I don't know if she finished it. Brittany, did you finish them?
I finished both of them today.
You finished both of them, and
I started it.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be my thing.
Yeah.
So
it might not be.
I couldn't get through episode 1. I'm really sorry, but
it's okay.
I was a little worried about this when they said Patrick Ness was going to do it, because so he wrote one of the short ebook stories for the 50th anniversary. It was the 5th Doctor one.
Oh,
I didn't care for it. Yeah, I didn't care for that one much, and if I remember correctly, the Vortex boys didn't either. But I tried reading some of his.
That was the one that stuck out.
I did try to read some of his other young adult novels. No, it's just no. I have no problem with people who like his stuff. That's great. I can't. I've tried, and it just didn't click for me. So I will sit this. I mean, so don't worry about spoiling me because I don't think I'm going to watch it.
Okay, Mitch, did you get a chance to watch it at all?
Yeah, I got home after 9, but I had set it to record on the DVR, so I watched it. But my DVR recording was really weird, so it was like hot, like it was kind of choppy. I don't know. I think it's a problem with my DVR.
Okay.
But I got most of it, but there were some parts that it was like I missed some of the finer details.
Oh, okay. I just didn't want to spoil anything for anyone. If
no spoil. You won't be spoiling.
Okay.
Me.
That's good.
So. I know what happened. I just don't know some of the finer details of moments when my DVR decided to act up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did look at some reviews.
I watched both episodes at some point, but
okay.
Yeah. I did look up some reviews just to be like, okay, am I missing something? Like, was it? And then what the reviews said, I'm like, yeah, no, So I do know basically what happens. So
yeah. I mean, it's for something set in the Doctor Who universe. Comparing it to the other spin-offs, like Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Adventures, which are like the two big ones. I mean, there's also K9 and Company, but that was its own thing, I think, for a while.
Yeah.
But Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures are, the two lump big finish into there. You kind of can, but if we're talking strictly TV spin-offs here, stuff with visuals, those are it. And the Class it's more Torchwood than Sarah Jane Adventures.
Right. It's kind of
it's it's Torchwood, Buffy, bit X-Files-ish. Which, I don't have a problem with the violence and the gore. I watch Game of Thrones, so gore does not bother me at all. So, when you have, bodies being stripped of their flesh by a giant alien dragon, it's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever.
Okay, and then the coach with the dragon tattoo makes a whole lot more sense.
Yes.
Oh.
So this is kind of how I'm characterizing it. So you have Doctor Who, and then you have Torchwood. Now we have Sarah Jane Adventures, and that's what Class is the Torchwood to Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty much.
I don't know if that's straight up what it should be, but that's how I'm thinking of it.
Yeah, that's the best way to.
Yeah.
I guess characterize it, because it's like Torchwood was adult, set in the close to Doctor Who, with Martha makes a appearance on Torchwood and all that, and then you got Sarah Jane Adventures, which involves a bunch of kids. So you've got Class, which would be the bunch of kids, but the maturity of Torchwood, essentially. So, and the violence of Torchwood, actually, too. Although, actually, Torchwood, the first, 2 seasons, it's not too bad. It's when you get into Children of Earth and Miracle Day where it starts to get grotesque.
Really
violent.
Like, how far can we push this? And it's just like, guys, pretty far.
Yeah.
When you got Captain Jack, literally having to, piece himself together.
Yeah.
People being skinned by a giant alien dragon is not that far-fetched, I guess. Not that as far as violence, I guess, is concerned. So, but, it's... I didn't dislike it.
No.
It took a little getting used to hearing the heavy British accents again, just because I have not watched anything, from the Doctor Who in a long time. So even though I watch Game of Thrones, those accents are not very thick. So to go back to your Doctor Who accents, British accents, took a little getting used to understanding what people were saying. But I'll the TARDIS translation circuit will kick on eventually, and it'll sound perfectly fine.
You'll remember how to do it.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't dislike it. It's just definitely different than what I'm used to. I can see why they brought Capaldi's doctor in for the first episode, probably to like soften the blow a little. Like this is in the Doctor Who universe. It's going to be different, but here's the doctor just to make it a little easier to transition.
See, I didn't even get to the point where the doctor shows up. I was just...
He shows up at the end, because that's the way they're going to do these sort of things.
Okay, well, yeah, so I turned it off, like, after maybe 20 or so minutes.
Yeah, pretty much all the bits that you see with Capaldi in, like, the trailer that they dropped for class, that's pretty much his appearance, actually.
Oh, so I haven't missed anything.
No, not really. I mean, he helps move some plot along, but it's pretty much the doctor just showing up and, running his mouth and playing the sonic screwdriver and solving the day, which, is what we expect from the doctor. And I was like, oh, doctor, I've missed you. Not so much that not so much because I wasn't enjoying what I was watching. It's just Doctor Who's been off the air for so long. It's like a junkie, like, stepping in, or like a recovering alcoholic stepping into a bar for the first time in like a year. You're like, oh, I missed you, and now you're going away again. Like I was almost through the withdrawals, and then you go,
and now I remember.
And then you go and drop Peter Capaldi, being the wonderful doctor that he is. So, so yeah, it's they do take some elements. I think from the Sarah Jane Adventures. You've got your kids. There's one kid who's an alien, trying to blend in and pretend like he's human with everyone else.
Which is all that is.
Yeah. Which I kind of gathered that really early, just the way he was acting. I'm like, you're not human, are you?
Yeah. I actually liked him and the teacher.
Oh, Quill, yeah.
Yeah, who was, his, whatever
protector.
We're calling, protector, servant thing. I'm like, you guys are kind of fun. It was the other kids that I just was like, I'm tired of you.
Yeah.
So I never had that problem with Sarah Jane Adventures.
Well, the kids were more, this is TV, this isn't real life, so kids are going to act this way because we've written them this way. Unlike class, where I think they make it a very, probably, I mean, obviously I'm not a kid, I'm not in high school or whatever the equivalent these kids are. These kids are like 16, 17, 18 years old, thereabouts, I think.
And I think that's the problem with Patrick Ness's writing is I'm like, okay, yeah, it's been a while since I was a teenager, but I don't know teenagers who act like the way he writes them. I think that's my issue.
Based on my Facebook feed, actually, I think that's very accurate to the way teenagers act these days. It may, at least some of them. And maybe that's why it's so hard for us, because we're like, kids these days,
Yeah.
We're all being all old fuddy-duddies, like, oh, kids these days, they don't understand how good they got it. Back in my day.
Maybe that's why I like the alien kid the most.
Well, and for a minute there, when they were talking about their planet, I was like, are these two survivors from Gallifrey? And like, nope, different planet entirely. Okay.
Yeah, he was like, it's the most beautiful planet ever. And I'm like, wait, are you a Time Lord? And it's like, then they showed the shot of the plane. I'm like, nope, wrong color.
Yep. Yeah. It's not no oranginess.
Nope. So, but, I mean, I'll keep watching it. So, it's just for anything else, just to get a Doctor Who-esque fix. I like the little nods to, the rest of the Doctor Who. Obviously we have the Doctor in the TARDIS, and the TARDIS show up. There's, we see Clara's name up on a wall.
With Danny's.
With Danny's, yeah.
And Susan Foreman's on there, too. Somebody posted a screen cap.
Yeah. They name drop Unit several times.
Yep.
You know, they mentioned the school governors, and I'm like, ooh, are we going to see Ian? I'm kind of hoping for an Ian cameo. That would be really fantastic.
Yeah. Like, you guys could still get William Russell. He's still around.
Yeah. It's like,
he does Big Finish.
Make it happen. So, yeah. I you know, the doctor's there and he sees Clara's name on the wall, and based on his reaction and considering the Sonic he has, this is post you know, Clara's death. You know, post Heaven Sent and Hellbent and all that. So
it's still fresh.
Yes, but the pain is still fresh. So but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, based on at least what I haven't really read a whole lot of reviews, but it looks like it's been mostly favorable. By if you have, you know, if you put any weight into professional reviews, I guess.
Yeah.
I take most professional reviews with lots of grains of salt, just because, you know, if you're a professional reviewer of anything, television or movie-wise, you know, you obviously tastes are going to differ, but then when you do it, you know, for a living, it's like,
yeah,
okay,
and they see so many things that it's like, you know, whatever the big flavor of the year is that gets used over and over, I guess you kind of get sick of it. That's what I've heard people say about, like, why critic reviews are so different than what, you know, regular people who go to movies and watch TV think. Yeah. Because it's like, they're not, I mean, yeah, they kind of are being snobby and elitist about it, but there's also another thing going on, and that's that they see a lot more stuff than we do, typically. Which I can understand. I still may not like their reviews of certain things, but
yeah, so
anyway.
But, you know, it's a mini series. I mean, it's not a full TV. It's not a full series. It's only going to be eight episodes. You know, I guess they'll they'll show it, and if it does well, then it may come back, and if it doesn't, then they didn't put a lot of time into it, I guess.
Or they'll be sitting here like Torchwood 10 years on, like, why isn't it back yet? Sign a petition.
But, you know, as people as the Vortex guys like to say, you know, any who's good who. Even if it's not who.
Even if it's who, only if you squint and turn your head a certain way.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, there's like individual storylines, but then there's this overarching storyline with this kid and his slave teacher protector thing.
Yeah, they weren't very clear on.
Well, it depends on who you ask. She thinks she's a slave. You know, he thinks that she's just, you know, getting what she deserves because of the things that she did. So, you know, to him it's a punishment. To her it's a punishment, but of another variety. So,
okay. Well, but to him it's a just punishment. To her it's unjust.
Yes. Yeah.
Is, I think, what you're trying to say.
Yes. That. Thank you for pulling the words out of my mouth that were stuck. So. It'd also be interesting to see, just because, like, all of the usual, like, Doctor Who and Doctor Who related, like, places I follow, like Facebook and all that, have been doing their feedback, and the Doctor Who podcast. I think Radio Free Skaro has done their reviews, and the guys traveling the Vortex are going to be doing their reviews. It'll be interesting to see what happens once Class officially airs in the United States. Because if you didn't know any better, you'd think we all watched it on BBC America just like everyone else watched it on like BBC Three or whatever their network is. So it'd be interesting to see, how much longer they wait to air it officially in the United States.
I question the wisdom in making BBC America wait, because I'm like, you guys, you do stay in date with Doctor Who. Why don't you do it with this?
Because a lot of people were mentioning that on Facebook, on the Class website. It's just like, you started doing Doctor Who day and date for a reason, and now you pull this. You're going to run into the same problems like you did before when you had the lag time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and have they said when they're going to air it, or they haven't?
Sometime in 2017.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, now would be a really good time to air it to give us a little something before we get the Doctor Who Christmas special to help tide us over.
They were doing it like this.
Yeah, it's like something.
They could have done a double feature with the Class and Dirk Gently. I don't think that would have been a problem. That would have probably bolstered, a Saturday night.
Yeah. Has Dirk Gently already aired in the on the BBC, or is that going to be a simul day and date thingamashit?
Well, BBC America is airing it here, but Netflix has it in the UK. From what one of my UK friends told me, Netflix has the rights over there.
But so is it already aired on BBC already? Or is it? It's a BBC thing, right?
I am not sure. I think it might be exclusively Netflix over there.
Huh.
Okay. From what I'm getting from a friend, that's what I'm understanding. I could be misunderstanding what he was saying, but that was what I got from it.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. My focus has been elsewhere. But okay. And like I said, I don't have BBC America anyway, so I would have to get it off iTunes probably. But anyway.
Yeah.
So. What?
I was just looking up the Dirk Gently. It's a co-production between BBC America and Netflix.
Oh. Okay, that makes more sense.
Episodes are airing on BBC America starting last Saturday, yesterday, and all episodes being available to stream on Netflix worldwide outside of the US in December.
Okay, so it's not even really. It is a BBC thing, but not BBC proper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. I am appeased, but still, they really should have aired Class.
Kind of annoying.
Yeah,
it's not outside of going to be available outside America until December.
Yeah, that is a pain in the.
It's going to be on Netflix once it is, but the show Frequency, which started recently, we get it the next day on Netflix up here.
Okay.
So I've been keeping up with that, but they're on Netflix till December.
That makes some sense. Okay, yeah, that is annoying.
Yeah,
it is.
So, sorry, I don't know what to say.
I don't. You didn't make the decision. It's people who get paid more than us, I guess, to make these decisions. So.
That is true, but it's kind of I always mess this line up. I recognize the committee has made a decision, but since it's a stupid decision. I've elected to ignore it.
Exactly. Like, we're going to take the Nick Fury opinion on it. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so that's Class, I suppose. What about, do we want to talk about other spin-offs then?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, have we talked Torchwood before?
No, we have not.
Okay, what am I thinking? I'm thinking that I'm still not entirely here with my brain, but
that is all right.
Torchwood and Sarah Jane.
I think we've mentioned Torchwood in the past when it's been relevant, especially with, with the Capaldi being the Doctor right now. So he's got ties to Torchwood and all that. So
we might have talked about it when we did John Barrowman in our history actor.
Yeah. Well, and I brought it up a little too after meeting John, in Cincinnati, and how he's still pushing to get Torchwood back, so there's, that other people, the general consensus from what I've seen of the people I know who watch Torchwood is if they bring Torchwood back, that somehow they figure out a way to like forget that Miracle Day ever happened.
That's too bad. I mean, okay, I never watched Miracle Day, but where if there's a show that I liked that had to completely erase an entire season to make their story make sense, that's just bad storytelling.
Yeah. It's just it's very. I didn't have a problem with. I mean, the story is very, very like far-fetched, even for the Doctor Who universe. Like Children of Earth, you can kind of like, the Doctor
in a sci-fi setting, you could get it. You understand how it would work. It's really pushing it.
Yeah.
Because it's like they said, "Oh, Torchwood's for adults. Let's make it as push the envelope as we possibly can." And it's just like, okay, guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like Torchwood, I mean, there's 4 seasons. The first 2 seasons are like your typical TV show where there's different episodes and there may be larger story arcs, but they're pretty much just single episodes that make up an entire season. And then something happened, and I don't know if it's because they started killing people off, so that like the Team Torchwood we started with was not the same by the time we got to the end of season 2, or what. Although I did like how they retconned Tasha's appearance in Doctor Who. Space Pig.
That kind of stuff was clever.
Yeah. But I don't know exactly what happened to why they decided to change so that season 3 and 4 were really just like multiple episode of
it's like a mini-series.
It's a mini-series as opposed to a season of a TV show. And, we get Children of Earth, which is, we get
just
a lot
5 episodes, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, we get a lot of Jack backstory because of that particular storyline. But, and then we also see Peter Capaldi. So if they ever bring Jack back to Doctor Who, it'd be interesting to see where in Jack's timeline they decide, because if it's pre-Children of Earth, then Jack could just be like, "Oh, Doctor, you got a new face, fabulous. Hey, how you been doing?" Do their Doctor Who, adventure type thing. But if it's Jack post Children of Earth,
oh man, he's not going to want to talk to the Doctor.
Nope.
Yeah, and I've seen people try to figure out how it potentially may work in like fan fiction. But, of course, with fan fiction, you can really do whatever you want because you're writing it.
Yeah. Well, And if they brought him back and it's pre-Children of Earth, that would make Children of Earth even more interesting, because now he's dealing with the Frobisher as he looks like this doctor that he met, and that.
Unless something happens and Jack forgets that he's seen that face, though.
That is true too.
That's the thing. It's like if you do it pre-Children of Earth Jack, and then you. Either way, you'd have to reference Children of Earth, and for people who haven't watched Torchwood, they're going to be like, "What the crap are you talking about?"
Darn Peter Capaldi and his fanboy tendency.
I know.
No, we love him.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it could complicate things for those.
We never had this problem with David Tennant.
No.
No, it is. Because they didn't reference Big Finish.
No. We don't see his face in Big Finish.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah, and unless they try to cross over Doctor Who with Harry Potter, then we still don't have a problem. So.
Well, they've done that with Harry Potter, Doctor Who, and Twilight.
Yeah.
Doctor was trying to end Twilight before it began, and it didn't.
So. You try to cross over Doctor Who with Harry Potter, that opens up a whole other can of worms, because there have been so many. Like, how do you explain Mr. Weasley is also Rory's dad,
How do you explain Dumbledore, for crying out loud?
Exactly.
How would you explain Barty
Oh,
Crouch
even the
Jr.?
doctor himself.
Exactly.
Yes,
Barty
Barty
Crouch
Crouch. Yeah.
And this is why the Doctor Who Sherlock crossover has not happened, because you've got Mark Gatiss, who's been in both. So. It's like the bigger the universe, the harder the crossover is. So sorry, people. Wholock is probably not going to happen anytime
Other
soon.
than in fan fiction. But
Exactly.
that's okay. You all keep on with your fanficky fictionishness.
This is probably why there hasn't been more Doctor Who spin-offs. They've done just Big Finish, because it's easy, because you can do voices and you don't have to worry about faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Although I know we're not going to talk about it much, but it is hilarious how many Doctor Who spin-offs there are in Big Finish.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at it earlier and I was like, holy cats.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Big
spin-offs
Finish.
of spin-offs.
Yeah, it's
that
like
complex.
I mean, you've got the Big Finish, Doctor Who main line, which, I mean, Big Finish has been made canon now thanks to, the return of Paul McGann's Doctor for the 50th.
Then you have Bernie Summerfield, Charlotte Pollard, Countermeasures, Cybermen, Dalek Empire.
Yeah.
I'm just going down the list here. And then there's all the Doctor Who stuff, Unit, Iris Wildtime,
You've got Gallifrey.
Graceless, Gallifrey,
Yeah.
Jago and Lightfoot. Freaking Jago and Lightfoot have their own. They were in one story in the 70s. Like, holy
They
cats.
were popular.
They were popular, I know, but it's just funny that it's like, Jago and Lightfoot, they have their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much Jago and Lightfoot, and now Strax is being brought, like, there was a story of Strax meeting Jago and Lightfoot.
Yeah, and now River's Song has her own spin-off. Captain Jack has a spin-off. I mean, they've done Torchwood and stuff, and then this one, Vienna, which I finished story, and so she got her own thing. So, yeah, it's fun.
But, yeah. The Doctor Who universe, it's a
big.
Bottomless pit is what it is, almost.
It's like the TARDIS.
A little bit. It's bigger on the inside. It is definitely bigger on the inside. So yeah, Torchwood is what it is. So, it's, if you want to watch it, watch it. When I was watching it, I'm like, I kind of equated Torchwood to what you would get if Doctor Who and Game of Thrones had a baby. So it's a little violent, it's a little sexy. So it's definitely adult, not Doctor Who.
Definitely.
And then you've got Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh, I love Sarah Jane Adventures. If you didn't bring it up, I'd be like, Sarah Jane Adventures.
No, we're just like the Doctor. We'll never forget Sarah Jane.
Yes. And and not even just the Doctor Who tie-ins, like when the Brigadier came into the show, or when Joe Grant was there. I don't know. It's just Sarah Jane. I mean, she's Sarah Jane, and she just has this, like, even though now she's older, she has adopted
Luke.
I'm like, why can't I remember his name? And she's got her little Scooby gang. It's like she's still the same Sarah Jane, who is the Doctor's best friend, and she knows how to do these things now. And the aliens come to her for help when the Doctor isn't around, and it's like comfort food, really. Sarah Jane Adventures. It's we're talking about how Doctor Who hasn't been on for months and months, so people are watching Class to kind of get their fix, and I'm like, Sarah Jane Adventures was that was the fix that you could go to, because you couldn't have the Doctor, but you'd have his companion, and it's just, I don't know, maybe maybe I'm just looking for calm and heartwarming things, but now I'm like, no, I want to go and watch Sarah Jane Adventures, which I have a bunch of the DVDs in the other room, so maybe I will do that. It's feel good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just in the mood for that kind of thing right now.
Yeah.
Because dang, I love Sarah Jane just so much.
Yeah.
Guys, I just love her so much.
It's just unfortunate that there's not a whole lot of the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, there's 4.5 seasons, and that's no one's fault. And just that she kept going and kept making the show, even though she was, not doing so well, which nobody knew.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's a credit to Elizabeth Sladen that we're sitting here talking about this.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want Doctor Who universe and more, Scooby-Doo esque Sarah Jane Adventures, she's even got the dog.
Yes, K9 is there, and I always love how K9 and Mr. Smith got into it.
Oh yes,
they were always bickering, and they were calling each other names, and it wasn't anything really malicious, but it kind of was, because they were just the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the Doctor did show up in that
twice.
In that show. Twice, yeah.
We got the 10th Doctor and the 11th Doctor.
Yeah, I was like, there's something else I'm missing. Yeah, David Tennant was there, and Matt Smith showed up for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Those were so much fun. And then she name drops all the companions at the end of that story. Well, not all the companions, but a lot of them, and the things that they're doing with their lives. Makes it canon that Ian and Barbara got married. I'm like, yay! Not that it wasn't already, but it's just in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Sarah Jane Adventures. It was, like I said, it's the feel good, happy, I love this sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, it gave us a chance to see what life is like for a companion after leaving the Doctor.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, and for the most part, it's all good. Although with the episode where Joe shows up, we do see that, the Doctor leaving his companions behind. In his mind, they're, young, or what, because most of his companions are young. So they're young and happy and living their life. And we realize that, Joe did have a good life, but there was part of her that was upset that the Doctor never returned.
And never really said goodbye to her.
Yeah. Yeah. So she got a little bit of closure there, which is good.
Yeah, like Sarah Jane got it, so why not Joe?
Yeah.
I kind of wish some of the others, because I know there were plans to have Ace show up in Sarah Jane Adventures had the show continued.
Yes.
And
she was next on their list.
Yeah, I was like, I would have loved to have had that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sophie brings that up at conventions quite often. That people ask her about that, and like, yeah, Ace was going to show up, but it was going to be like Ace undercover. Like she'd have on like a suit and high heels, and trying to look more, like a normal adult. But then stuff would happen, and out would come the jacket and the baseball bats.
Oh man!
And the Nitro 9.
I think we need that in Doctor Who or something.
Yeah, we do.
Ace needs to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Because we still really didn't get any closure for Ace, did we?
No, not really. Not really.
Again, not anyone's fault except, the BBC, but we don't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were going to try to keep the Sarah Jane Adventures to continue even after Elizabeth passed, but they couldn't make it work. So. Yeah,
and I think it was probably a good choice not to, because it's like, how do you keep it going?
Yeah.
Without the main star.
How do you have the Sarah Jane Adventures without Sarah Jane?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they made the wise decision, even though the season was left open ended, but we still miss her.
Yeah. And the Brigadier.
Brigadier.
So that was one of the last times we saw the Brigadier too. So. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
It still makes me sad that he never got to come back to Doctor Who because of his illness and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he made it to Sarah Jane Adventures, and good that he did. It was.
It would have been nice if he'd been able to get back for Doctor Who, or to be in or if he had been able to even be in The Wedding of Sarah Jane with David.
Well, it's kind of pointless to speculate now, but yeah, it really would have been cool. And it would have been just really nice. Although I feel like Stephen Moffat has done his best to kind of give the Doctor at least closure on that too. So like in story.
Yeah.
For that. So I appreciate that tribute as much, but I think as I understand it, they've said that they're not going to address Elizabeth Sladen's death in show, because they're like, we don't want to. Like, for all we know, Sarah Jane is still out there fighting aliens, and her little gang is doing their thing. So, like, okay, we'll keep that going.
Yeah.
But the Brigadier works because they have 8. Oh, sure, go ahead.
This probably would never happen, but like a cameo of one of the kids from Sarah Jane Adventures cameoing on class, like coming in on class for like an episode.
That would be good. That would be a good idea.
Like, cause they'd be older, like, so if
they would be that age, wouldn't they? Like, hey, we know there's some alien threat here. Let's go to Shoreditch.
Clyde.
Yes, Clyde.
Yeah.
I'd watch that episode.
Maybe it'll happen.
Now, I have a question, and maybe I'm tipping my hand here a little bit. Did anybody else ship Clyde and Ronnie?
I kinda did.
Well,
Yes.
I think the intention was for them to get together and like go off and have their own adventures, like season 5.
Okay.
Like because I've seen like the scripts that they were planning to do, and there was like this whole thing of letting the current like kids go off and like maybe bringing in new ones or something.
Oh yeah, because I know Luke went off to university.
And then so they were letting Clyde and Ronnie grow up a bit towards the end, because they've been keeping them young, like dressing them young, and then towards the end they were starting to dress them a little older, and that they're growing up, and that towards
they had
5 they would have moved on to do their own thing somewhere else.
Yeah, and then they had Skye. She was sort of the new, I don't want to say new Luke, but sort of. And I was like, I would have wanted to see what she got to do, but no, the whole thing was just so good. And I go back to it from time to time when I'm in the mood for something fun and silly, but also life affirming, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess it works.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up, just to kind of discuss it a little bit, that article I did find online about the two Doctor Who spin-offs that never happened. The article focuses more on, not, although back in the 60s I don't think they really used the term spin-off, they called it an extension of Doctor Who, and it was actually partially William Hartnell's idea to give the Doctor a son, and then call the program The Son of Doctor Who. But the whole idea was, this is the quote from Hartnell, "At one time in late 1964, I thought we might extend the series, and I suggested giving the Doctor a son and calling the program The Son of Doctor Who. The idea was me to have a wicked son. We would both look alike, each have a TARDIS, and travel in outer space. In actual fact, it would have meant that I had to play a dual role when I met my son, but the idea was not taken up by the BBC, so I dropped it. I still think it would have worked and been exciting to children."
Kind of a precursor to the Master.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Bad son.
Yeah. So, but that's definitely an interesting premise.
That idea, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that would have worked, but okay.
Yeah, they're saying I can't imagine it would have lasted very long, because, I mean, Hartnell's health deteriorated quite quickly in his run on Doctor Who, so, for him to do essentially two shows at the same time, I don't think would have lasted very long.
He had enough trouble with the one show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea.
It is an interesting idea.
Yeah. But, that's as far as it went for the most part. But the article also does mention the spin-off of Terry Nation's The Daleks, which was almost a spin-off of the Daleks Master Plan, essentially. And actually, Terry Nation actually wrote a pilot titled The Destroyers, but it was never picked up. So it actually went a step further. It actually had a pilot written, but it never got picked up. But those are two spin-offs that we could have had, back in the 60s and 70s, but never took off for.
Well, it's like they tried to do so many different spin-offs early on. Like, we had K9 and Company. It only ever had the one episode that didn't ever take off, but so they kept trying, and then they finally, with the new Doctor Who, they finally got a few that actually worked pretty well. So, persistence.
Yeah. Yeah, it only took 40-something years for something to finally take. Yeah. But yeah, it is what it is. The Doctor Who universe as a whole is a plethora of media to consume. So whatever they decide to give us, whether it's a class, or, books, or Big Finish. Yeah, we'll take it.
And I think another thing, I just had this thought, because, we talk about how long Doctor Who has lasted, and, 50 years and stuff. And a lot of these spin-offs were not around for very long. And I think, like, when you're in Doctor Who, and then you want to do, because Doctor Who you can go anywhere in time and space and do anything, and you have regeneration, so that lends itself to lasting for a long time. But then it's like these spin-offs, it's trying to extend the concept of one episode or a series of episodes into a full show, and it's like you have to realize that that's not going to last as long as the parent show for obvious reasons, but you can try.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases you do.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
So maybe just these mini-series things are the way to go. Yeah.
Maybe. And it may be something that, they're experimenting with, so.
Yeah. This year it could be this year's class, next year or the year after could be something different.
Yeah. Because, as much as we'd like to have, fresh seasons of Doctor Who every single year, stuff happens. People decide to leave the show, and that, causes logistics, or, somebody gets ill or injured or something, and that delays filming. And so, if they want to experiment by giving us, new and different content that still fits within that universe with the mythos and all of that, hey, sure, yeah.
I'm not going to complain.
I'll take it until Doctor Who comes back. So.
Anyway, so yeah. Yep. So, dear listener, if you watched Class or any of these other spin-offs and you want to chime in with your opinions about any of this, please, you can send in your feedback to us at our email address, 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also visit our website and contact us there. And our website also has links to all of our social media: Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube. And we are also we're on iTunes. You can leave us a review there. Spotify, no, not Spotify. I just blanked on what that one was. Stitcher. Yeah. Thank you. I'm like,
I blanked on it too.
Like, it starts with an S.
Yeah.
Okay, Stitcher Radio, and we're also on Google Play if you have an Android, so you can download us there. I think all those places you can leave reviews, so if you feel so inclined, please do so. And also, our supporters on Patreon, as always, we thank you. We could not do this without your generous support, and we appreciate it. As our gratitude knows no bounds. I'm trying to be flowery, but I just want to say thank you. And if you feel like you would like to support us on Patreon, you can do that at our website as well. There's a link there. And also, Amazon, our Amazon store is open as always. You can click on the right-hand side of our website. There's a link to Amazon, and you can go shop and see what's there. And Amazon gives us a little bit in return for that. So I've been remembering to do that. I told Jared because he had a bookmark link at the top of his browser for Amazon. Like, no, there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been doing some Amazon shopping with Christmas and such coming up. So, anyway, that's our website. That's how you can get a hold of us and contact us. And Facebook's a good place to go because Rachel and I are. Brittany does too. I think we've all put something up there.
Yeah, but Chrissy and I think, are tied to Facebook more.
Yeah, and that's what I do because I'm, like I said, I use Facebook for work, so it's sort of I need a break from all this crazy news that's going on. So let me look at something fun that's not real world news, and that's what I do. Mm-hmm. I find stuff to put up on the podcast page, so keep an eye out for that. And Jared and I are still doing our Sailor Moon Crystal watch. I was sick all last week, so that's why I didn't get any done, but I'm hoping to get some more done this week instead. So that's all.
Awesome sauce. So we shall be back next week with leading up to Halloween with our top 10 baddies / villains. That's what we're going to be doing next week. So if anyone wants to contribute to that, please do so. Also a reminder, as we're recording this, it's Sunday evening, but this coming Saturday, October 29th, I will be at Who North America for Doctoberfest, speaking of Doctor Who, which is their fall festival. So I will be there pretty much the entire day. I've got a table. I will be sharing a table with Tony Troxel from Indiana Geeking, which is he's got a blog and a podcast. Or as he likes to say, he's a blogger with a podcast, unlike us where we're a podcast with a blog.
It all works out.
Yes. But we will be sharing a table because between the two of us, we couldn't justify having one big old table for each of us. So being podcasters / bloggers. So we will both be there chatting with people, and there will be candy. That was the one caveat for having a table, is you had to bring Halloween candy for all the kids. So
whoa, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Sadness, you have to bring candy.
I know. But I will have I will have a review of that and all the fun stuff on the show next week as well. So exciting stuff to finish up the month. October.
I love Halloween.
Yeah.
It's the greatest.
I do too, mostly because of the candy. So.
And the candy. Well, I can't have candy so much anymore.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to either, but.
Well, I've been on a bit of a sugarless diet since July, but that's another story for another time.
I'm just waiting for the candy to go on sale the day after Halloween.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, before
you get lots of chocolate.
Yes.
Well, before we make me hungry and I have to go raid the pantry for the bag of M&Ms that I know is sitting in the cabinet, something I don't need this time of night. Let's go ahead and sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bev saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
Rich saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. You want a cabinet? There's this great place called IKEA. Listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by their respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.